domain relation calculus basically is also again a non-procedural query language. Why I'm saying over here? Because relation calculus is have another form, that is a domain relation calculus. So here we can say this is again a non-procedural query language, and it's equivalent to in power of to tuple relation calculus. So domain relation calculus provides only the description of the query, but it does not provide the method to solve it. So as we know, this is the point we need to keep in mind in the relation calculus. We will know that what to do we are getting right now, but we don't know we don't know how we are getting the things. So we don't know the actual procedural or solution. So that's why it determined that it does not have any procedure to get the information. In domain calculus relation, we have to present our query like over here. So you can see in the, of course, and this we're talking about the set theory pattern, the tuple relation calculus we have seen. Same thing we have over here. Now you can see the syntax of the representation of this one: x1, x2, comma x1. So what does it mean? What does it mean? And what does it mean by p x1, x1, x2, x1? So you can see where x1, the part of the x1, x2, x3, xn represent the resulting domain, a variable. So this is known as the domain variable. All these are known as the domain variable, because what I mean to say that here in a tuple relation calculus, t belong to the tuple variable and which contains the tuple which contain the tuple information. If we're talking about domain, when you want to get the information of the entire record, so at that time we will not get the only single value of the such domain. We will get the tuple. We get the entire record followed by the list of the various domains. So that's why in a table we can have the multiple attribute of field name of column. So that's why we have the x1, x2, x2, x3, and so on, so to xn. And you have remembered the point when you want to put the condition, then we will put the condition on this domain value or set of the values from which we will filter all the data. So you can see over here p x1, x2, x3, and so on, so xn represent the condition or formula equivalent to the predict calculus. If this prediction calculus is true, so we will get the information. As the false information, we will not retrieve. So this is the point you need to keep in mind. Like tuple relation calculus, it is also a simple concept. So here we have various examples. So for understanding the things, let us move to the next slide for getting the more idea about the domain relation calculus. In this point, you have any doubt? Then you can ask me, please. Yes, please tell me. You have any doubt in this point? You have to just remember the syntax. Previously, we have seen the tuple relation calculus. We have focused on the tuple. What is mean by tuple, and we need to focus on the set of the tuples. Here, we need to focus on the set of the domain. So representation will be like this one. So now tell me any doubt you have. Just please remember. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me. Should we move to the next slide, or you have any doubt?
Next slide.
Okay. So now we have an example. So this example, you just remember the parent, the curly braces you have to use just like the set theory. So here you just remember the name and age are the two column name. Okay, these are the two column names, and these two columns contain the list of the value, and that is represented by the domain. So we have the domain variable. So a name and age belong to the domain variable. So you have to remember this one, domain variable. So here we have the name and age, and now the relation that is such that we have over here student. So in the student relation, we need to check the student age is less than 21. So we have to represent this point over here. So this query is saying that we need to print or get the or select the information of those student and his or her age, the student who have the age less than 21. Okay, so this is the point we can say, or we can say the student who have not greater than age 21 year old. So the information will be retrieved in form of the name and age. A student asked me this question, sir. In the query, we have to print the a specific column name, just like the customer name. Or yesterday we have seen the some information. So if you want to print only the customer name or age or any non number or any details, then that will be only specific. But in the tuple based condition, how you can determine, because you are focused on the tuple rather than the column or domain. So in the domain field, it is also possible to we can select the limited domain, just like we just want to print only the name and age. So definitely we can represent only the name and age. Suppose I'm just putting only the only age. So my query will be only uh, the this query will display the those student age who have less than the age 21. So we will get the age column like this one. So our output would be like this one. But here we have the information from the student relation, that is also name and age only. So other column name will not be displayed. So our output will be displayed like over this one. So this would be the point. In example number 2, you can see the employee ID. So we have the first name and employee ID. Okay, so we are selecting, we are choosing the how much or how many information we need from the various kind of the list of the column. So that is represented by the column name. So here it is given that is a domain variable, and we need to keep in mind the syntax, that is a this point. Okay, and this part also belong to the your conditional. Okay, this part also belong to the condition, and that is we can say the p. And if you remember this point, x1 comma x2 xn. So on which column you want to put the condition, and we will get the filter out data. Just like example of the I can speak. We have the 10,000 students record in our university, and whenever we need to get the data of those students who belong to the only the Hyderabad city. So I will get the only filter out data. I will get only the filter data and the student who belong to only the Hyderabad city. So I just got the approx maybe 200 200 students record I got. So from the 10,000 record, I will just filter out my data, and I will just see only the name and city. I don't need the enrollment number, other thing. I just need to see how many students we are getting. So I can give the limited list of the column name. So it is also possible. So whenever you are just want to focus on the domain or column name, then you can go through the domain relation calculus. And whenever we want to focus on the tuple, then we have the tuple relation calculus. So in the relation calculus, what you want to do print, what you want to display, what you want to select. So based on your problem, based on thing, you can go to that part. And into the examination, into anywhere, it will be clearly mentioned there what you want to do. And suppose it is not given, then you just identify the query. So for the confusing purpose or for providing the complexity to the question, any faculty or into the anywhere, you just find the query, and query will be written there, and you have to think what kind of the query we have. It is a tuple relation calculus or domain relation calculus. So you have to remember the two important things. One is you need to keep in mind about the syntax of the tuple or domain relation calculus, and you need to justify or you need to identify the what it has been asked by the query. So into the examination, you will have the list of the various information like the domain or tuple or column name, field name, attribute name, and nothing to be displayed. Maybe the information would be given into the tabular form of the data. So at the time you need to identify. So same thing or same pattern I can ask into the examination or into the midterm examination. I can give any query and you have to just fire or to write the point. Or I can give the question like this one. Find the XYZ detail of the such information from the any relation. So you have to determine what I have been asked. If it is not given, then you can use any kind of the thing like tuple or domain relation calculus, depend on the things what it is asked. So you have to understand the general English statement properly. But it is not given specific or is not specified, then you can assume there is no issue. But keep in mind the query or the answer must be proper. So at the time, your brain, your mind will be functioning properly to identify the English statement written query. This one. So the in the example number 2, you can understand the result here. We are returning in the first name and the employee ID values for all the rows in the employee table. So where salary is greater than 10,000. And if you want to put or update this query, so you can use just greater than equal to or less than equal to. So definitely the sense of the query will be updated. So what it has been asked by the point we need to keep in mind. So this is the symbol which determines that we will get the data from the this relation, and of course this relation contains this attribute that is salary is greater than 10,000. So we are not using any tuple variable, so we are not using any domain variable to determine that this specific column belongs to the such thing. Here we are not using any dot operator, you can see. Okay, so here we are not using any dot operator, but into the previous class we have used. Suppose if we have the two different columns, and at a time we need to do or filter out data from the two different relations, then at a time the dot operator is required. So here we are using only the single relation, so other relation is not required over here. So at a time when we have the multiple column, multiple relation or multiple tables, then dot operator will be used, because dot operator will specify that from which table or which column belong to the that part. Maybe two columns can have the two different tables can have the same number of the columns. Then you will need to differentiate the thing. So at a time dot operator is required. Of course, we will see that part through the this example today. You will see. So tell me any doubt over here in this slide. Yes, please tell me any doubt you have. Is this clear? This query is clear to all in domain relation? Yeah.
Yes, it's clear. No doubt.
Okay. So okay, so you will able to solve. No problem. Okay. Now please note down all these values. What I want to say or I want to express my query. So please note down the first table, that is a customer table. Just like the previous class, we have the information and you have to use such information to get the or to functionize the domain relation calculus. So here we have the first table, that is the customer. So Devumit, okay, street is Karamalata, and we have the city Alipur Dog. Same we have the other information like the Sanatan, Soumya, and Ritu, and we have the loan data, loan table. We have the loan number, branch name, and amount. So what are the various things we have over? We have over here. Now in the loan number column, loan number contain the installment value. Those are the L01, L03, L10, and 08. Same thing we have the borrower table or relation. So here we have the customer name and loan number. And in a borrower, you have to keep in mind the important point I want to tell here. Loan number, if I'm talking about the loan number, so this is the loan number is a part of the loan relation, and loan number here from the borrower is also part of the borrower class or borrower relation. So while solving any problem which belong to the both kind of the relation like loan and borrower, so at a time you need to identify the problem, and here we need to use the dot operator to differentiate what column you are taking from which relation. So at a time dot operator will be applicable, and that part we will see today. And in from the talking about the customer, so there is no issue over here, but you can see the customer name is also part of the borrower, and customer name is also part of the customer relation. So you need to differentiate such thing by putting the dot operator. Like if I'm putting the customer dot customer name. So what does it mean? It defines that I'm talking about or I'm picking the domain or list of the information from the customer relation. So same thing you can also go for the border. So at the time dot operator will be applicable, and it differentiate your information. Okay. So you will able to solve all the problem if I am sharing to all, or if you have any doubt then you can tell me. So this is the syntax you have to keep in mind. I'm speaking once again to all, that is a belong to the domain relation calculus. Okay, so this is the point you need to keep in mind. No doubt in the syntax point, please let me know. It is just unlike a tuple relation calculus, so please tell me any doubt in this point.
No doubt, sir.
Okay, this query is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so please note down all these values which is written which is written into the inform the relation. Please note down because I have so many queries, so I will ask one by one to all the students.